Everyone mentioned today is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and everything I discuss here is theory until proven fact, even if it is.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean, and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short, so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna sing my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah bitch I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on the shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these shit I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seeds as I spread, with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel?
Hey guys, how we going? How you going, Deb, Dealey, Sherry, Lucette? How you guys going? Good to see you and everyone else watching. Okay, I've got some news, but I'll do that at the end for personal news. I'll do the main news right now. Susan, from Marco Cicero, I don't know how to say that properly anyway, 43 BC of the Roman Empire, wrote this amazing wisdom. Interesting, still true today. Number 1, the poor work and work. Number 2, the rich exploit the poor. Number 3, the soldier protects both. Number 4, the taxpayer pays for all 3. Number 5, the banker robs all 4. Number 6, the lawyer misleads all 5. Number 7, the doctor bills all 6. Number 8, the goons scare all of 7. And the politician at 9 lives happily on account of all 8. Written in 43 BC, valid even today. How you going, Shannon? Good to see ya. Okay, so that's valid still today. Dr. Russell McGregor said, General Flynn said today, the CIA must be razed to the ground. Funnily enough, post 129 once again demonstrates future proves past. The NSA will take over the dismantled CIA. Closing act. The C and I and A are all highlighted here, so that means the CIA. Dismantled, impossible to clean. Operations will be no such agency, which is NSA. So there you go. That was the plan from this side over here, which, oh my God, what's going on? Are you crazy? Look at how many successes there are there. Yeah, okay. Anyway, that's from this site here. Oh, wrong one. Okay. Nick Sautor said, breaking, Texas Attorney General says the Democrats who fled the state to block the vote to pass the updated US House map should be arrested and brought back. Democrats in the Texas House who try and run away like cowards should be found, arrested and brought back to the Capitol immediately. We should use every tool at our disposal to hunt down those who think they're above the law. That's how you play hardball. Because apparently the Democrats from Texas have all ran. Thank you, J1, for the other day, and thank you to whoever bought me a coffee. I appreciate that. I can't find out who you are, but thank you. MAGA Voice said, breaking, 50-plus Texas Democrats fled Texas to stop Texas redistricting. Arrest them all. These cowards are on the run. Okay, Mandela said, a friendly reminder, no child believes they were born in the wrong body until a creepy adult deliberately puts that idea in their head. Yes, or social media itself, you know. Other people saying, oh, what is it? Non-binary. Oh, come on. Look in your pants. You'll soon find out what you are. The Justice cometh, said Elon, coming in with a 1:27 a.m. timestamp. Post 127, graphic is your key. Well, now, I see Elon posted a 6-7 video of the graphic. A 6-second video, yeah. Let's look up post 6, a mini thread. The graphic is your key. Let's pause and say hello to the rogue intelligence agencies currently monitoring these threads. Was the money worth it? Titanic. Apparently, Elon has posted this. It's a bit how I feel right now, actually. Anyone else? Oh, okay. Anyway. Where's the rest of it? Post 6, POTUS is 100% insulated. Follow humour, Barack Obama, tomorrow. POTUS will not be addressing any of these issues as people begin to be indicted. Man, it certainly feels like people are about to get the hammer. Focus on military intel. Why might that be used in military tribunals? Why is POTUS surrounded by generals? The military is helping POTUS. Don't fool yourself into thinking they have more power than POTUS. The truth is mind-blowing, cannot be fully exposed. Operation Mockingbird. Didn't Tulsi say Friday she's shutting Operation Mockingbird down? Run by the CIA? Let's keep going. This one says, some of us are here to drop crumbs, just crumbs. POTUS is 100% insulated. Any discussion suggesting he's even a target is false. Follow humour tomorrow. POTUS will not be addressing the nation on any of these issues as people begin to be indicted and must remain neutral for pure optical reasons. To suggest this is a plan is false and should be common sense. Focus on military intelligence, state secrets and why that might be used versus any three-letter agency. What Supreme Court decision opened the door for a sitting president to activate? What must be showed? Why is POTUS surrounded by generals? Again, there are a lot more good people than bad, so have faith. This was a hostile takeover from an evil, corrupt network of players, not just Democrats. Don't fool yourself into thinking Obama, Soros, Roths, Clinton, etc. have more power than present-day POTUS. Follow the money, it's the key. What is Pelosi's net worth? By way of one example. Why, coincidentally, is her memory apparently going? Cover for possible future indictment to plead what? If the John M. never had surgery and that was a cover for a future out if needed against prosecution? Why did Soros transfer his bulk public funds to an NP? Note this doesn't include massive slush funds that are pulled by several high-ups. Why did Soros' son have several meetings with Canadian PM and how is this related to the Clintons? Why is MS-13 a priority? Could people pay such gangs to kill opponents? And why, how to insulate against exposure? The truth is mind-blowing and cannot be fully exposed. These people are evil. Operation Mockingbird. And that's come up again recently. Yep, here she is talking about the CIA to this day still operating Operation Mockingbird. Okay, I've got this. I'm going to play this in a minute. Look on post 129. CIA Closing Act dismantled. Impossible to clean. Operation Mockingbird. Too big to clean. If you don't know what Operation Mockingbird is, It is CIA agents running the media, well, talking heads of the media. Will the CIA functions be moved to the NSA shortly? Let's wait and see. Comms have been off the charts this week. News is unlocking the map everywhere. Is Elon sending us a warning? It seems like it. I still believe Elon's a white hat playing his role. Let's see what happens in the coming days. Today's Delta, something big is about to drop. Okay, and a lot of people are feeling this way. It's interesting. Illuminati bot said Richard Branson was worse than Epstein. Branson catered to the A-list and royalty. Epstein catered to the B-list. Branson has islands in the Virgin Islands near Epstein's Island. His airline is called Virgin. Does anyone think about why it's called Virgin? Take it all with a grain of salt at the moment, guys. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so Appalachian Mama said, I'm so over the relentless scorn directed at boomers. Yeah, this is happening all over social media right now. Everyone's just blaming boomers for everything. This is what they want. They want you to blame each other rather than look at who's actually causing these problems. Appalachian Mama said, I'm so over the relentless scorn directed at boomers. It's both short-sighted and unjust. Born into a world of post-war grit, they mastered mental math before calculators, cursive before laptops, and adapted to the internet's rise while many of us struggle to update our iOS. Their parents were in the actual depression. They faced the Cold War's shadow, Vietnam's turmoil, civil rights battles, and economic swings, waiting on the daily paper to find out what happened. They built the infrastructure, industries, and institutions we lean on, without the luxury of instant Google answers and step-by-step instructions. To dismiss them as out of touch ignores their resilience and ingenuity. Set in their ways? They know all the ways. Respect isn't just due, it's earned. Let's retire the complaining, the victimhood, the finger-pointing, and the lazy stereotypes and honour their lives and work with the dignity it deserves. When you say something ugly about boomers, I instantly recognise you sound like an entitled brat. Okay, that's just for people who want to blame boomers for everything wrong with today's society. It's not their fault. We were all lied to, if you want to put it that way, okay? But they did a lot, I'm telling you. End tribalism in politics, said RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz just shut down a policy that turned hospitals into enforcers of certain procedures. Hospitals that got their employees vaccinated receive more money. Those that didn't or failed to report risk losing funding. That's over now. This is a small win for the medical freedom movement, but an important one. Bookmark this thread, turn post notifications on so you don't miss what comes next. In 2013, the federal government began linking Medicare payments to whether hospitals reported staff flu vaccination rates. The stated goal was to improve care and reduce preventable illness. But even then, hospitals were being pushed to prioritise compliance over patient-centred decisions. Under the Biden administration, it got worse. CMS expanded the rule, tying inpatient hospital reimbursement to flu and COVID vaccination reporting. The data was published on the CDC's National Healthcare Safety Network, not to improve care, but to publicly shame hospitals with lower vaccination rates. Now, take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a doctor. Okay? So there you go. Hospitals that reported high flu and COVID vaccination rates to CMS could qualify for major Medicare reimbursement bonuses, sometimes over $100,000 a year, across value-based programs. For those who didn't comply, risk losing some of their funding or being flagged publicly on CMS comparison sites. It created a powerful incentive, report high numbers or pay the price. Hospitals weren't asking what's best for our staff. They were asking, what do we need to do to keep our full CMS funding? Below is one aspect of this overall incentive structure. This example is drawn from the Value-Based Purchasing VBP program, which is just one part of a larger system that linked hospital payments to staff vaccination reporting. They can withhold participating hospitals' Medicare payments by a percentage specified by law, 2%. Uses the estimated total amount of those reductions to fund value-based incentive payments to hospitals based on their performance in the program. It rewards acute care hospitals with incentive payments for the quality of care provided in the inpatient hospital settings. This program adjusts payments to hospitals under the inpatient. This is like a business. This should not be happening. CMS didn't tell hospitals to fire employees, but when your funding partially depends on vaccination stats, that pressure flows downward. A pregnant nurse in Pennsylvania was fired for refusing a flu shot, even after offering to wear a mask. A respiratory specialist in California was fired after 30 years for refusing the COVID vaccine on religious grounds. The list goes on. We can't say for sure these actions were caused by the CMS policy, but it absolutely shaped the environment hospitals were operating in, and it gave them cover to punish dissent. The good news is RFK Jr. just officially ended the CMS policy that tied hospital funding to staff vaccination reporting. Medical decisions should be made on one thing, the well-being of the person, never on a financial bonus or a government mandate. Administrator of CMS Dr. Oz added, doctors and other providers should have the same autonomy to choose what's right for their own individual healthcare needs as the patients for whom they care. This move eliminates the financial pressure hospitals use to justify internal mandates, terminations and surveillance of their own employees. Hospitals will no longer be rewarded or punished based on how many of their staff have that procedure. It's a major step towards restoring trust in the doctor-patient relationship and rolling back policies that turned care into compliance. Yeah, all for money. That's what it seems like. Wide Awake Media said Trump one of the most urgent tasks is to decisively defeat the climate hysteria hoax. The radical left's fear-mongering about climate in our future is destroying America's economy, weakening our society and eviscerating our middle class. It's really hurting us. We have to defeat the climate hoaxers once and for all. Regardless of your views on Donald Trump, do you agree or disagree with these statements? Let's have a listen.
One of the most urgent tasks, not only for our movement, but for our country, is to decisively defeat the climate hysteria hoax. The ocean is rising, it's rising, it's coming, it's within 300 years we're going to gain 1/100th of an inch in the ocean and have a little more beachfront property. It's going to be a terrible thing. No, it's a hoax. The whole thing is it's so crazy. In the meantime, our factories can't perform. They want us to use wind, intermittent wind. Darling, I'd like to watch the president tonight on television. No, you can't. The wind isn't blowing, right? The wind isn't blowing. There's no television tonight, darling. The wind isn't blowing. And by the way, our house went down to about 30% of the value because we're near a windmill that makes a lot of noise, kills all our birds, and ruins the landscape. Other than that, it's a wonderful thing for the environment. These people are crazy. But they're radical climate people, and I don't believe they mean it. They can't mean it because it's too easy. They can't mean it. The radical left's fear-mongering about climate and our future is no longer just scaring American youth. It's destroying America's economy, weakening our society, and eviscerating our middle class. It's really hurting us. And conservative leaders, think tanks, and intellectuals must be fearless in calling out the lunacy of what you're seeing and what you're being led into. The world is not ending. Our future is not dying. We have to defeat the climate hoaxers once and for all. You know, they said we only had 12 years to live. That was 4 years ago, remember? They said our country has 12 years. And that was like, I said, oh, what happened? What happened? They said, it's the climate. I said, really? Oh, that doesn't make sense. So that means we only have 8 years. That's ridiculous. The real problem is with nuclear weapons, we may only have 6 months. You talk about global warming, that's the real global warming, not the global warming hoax that they don't even use it anymore. They call it climate change. Remember, they used to call it global warming. The planet is warm, but that wasn't working out too well because a lot of places were extremely cool. So they were getting killed. They were getting killed. And then they changed it all of a sudden, climate change, because you can't miss on climate change. It can go up, it can go down, it can go 15 different directions. It's climate change, it's killing us. Now these people have got a lot of problems.
They also wanted to use climate change as an excuse to import more people in. Okay, Dan Scavino Jr. said FAFO. F around, find out. Interesting. It's like a message to them. Rob Smith said almost 1 million votes at the federal election were deemed informal. Just so happens that is the amount needed for Labor here in Australia to lose the election. I'll keep banging the rigging of the election bell till the cows come home. I wouldn't trust the AEC with my lunch money. That's the Australian Electoral Commission. Okay, almost 1 million votes at the federal election were deemed informal. What does that mean? I don't know. It was played with? We all know that. How you going, Pat? How you going, Geo Loft? How you going, J1? 6 News Australia said the New South Wales Libertarian Party MP John Ruddock says Israel is committing what can only be described as genocide in Gaza. Ruddock says he'll be proud to march on the Sydney Harbour Bridge at tomorrow's pro-Palestine protest. And that was yesterday, okay? So the one of the libertarians believes that Israel is killing Gazans. No, that would be the UN who is holding up the aid, by the way, and Hamas as well. What a moron. I don't know. If you're in the New South Wales Libertarian Party, I don't know, right? That's why I stick with One Nation. Pauline Hanson, she's been saying the same thing since the 90s. Anyway, the Road Knight, this is just some bullshit from Australia, okay? The Road Knight said, finally, work from home will be a legal right. I hope all nurses, firefighters, ambulance officers, doctors, teachers, police officers, and frankly, everyone will take advantage of this. Do you think nurses can work from home? What about firefighters? What about ambulance officers, doctors, teachers, police officers, and frankly, everyone? Victorian government are enshrining work from home rights 2 days a week. That's only going to apply to government workers. I bet you. I bet you any money. She's trying to get more votes. Freaking insane lunatics. Okay, FBI Director Kash Patel. In 2017-18, I proved the Steele dossier was fictitious intelligence, weaponised by corrupt FBI officials to deceive a federal judge and unlawfully spy on then presidential candidate Trump's campaign. All paid for by his opponent. The media called me a liar. Now I'm the FBI Director. We just uncovered burn bags, room filled with hidden Russiagate files, including the Durham Annex and declassified them. Once again, I released the prior FBI's own documents and exposed the truth. The same media is calling me a liar again. Maybe this FBI will release more docs directly from FBI headquarters so we can see who's lying. Wouldn't want to deprive the fake news of more bogus Pulitzer's prizes. And then what? Oh, people are still asking for, I don't know, I think you might be a retard yourself. People asking about the Epstein files, seriously? Give it time. Things will unravel the way we were told this would happen. Epstein's not even the biggest one, but just hang in there. It's coming. The Justice Committee said, I want everyone to breathe for a second, take emotions out of this, and I want you to really think about this. My friends, this is where disinformation is necessary comes into play. Remember Trust Ray? You need to trust this process. Let's go through some things here about Ray. Let's take a dive again this afternoon on Mr. Chris Ray. Spoiler alert, trust Ray. No, really, trust him. A thread. What was this? Thomas Paine. Follow Thomas Paine. If you are FBI and don't know who you can trust, contact True Pundit or Kallstrom, and we will take your intel and protect your identity. Trust Ray, okay? Former FBI Director Chris Ray criminally referred to the DOJ for misleading Congress on several issues, making false statements and obstructing per Fox. Okay, that's what this is in regard to. First off, do you remember the burn bags that were found recently at FBI headquarters? Who gathered all those documents and hid them away? You don't think Ray would have, do you? Let's find out. The board pointed us in that direction. Keep going. Benny Johnson said breaking Trump's administration has declassified the Durham Annex, discovered in burn bags inside a secret room, confirming that Hillary Clinton conspired with Obama's FBI to fabricate the Russia collusion hoax. The Steele dossier was pushed despite clear flaws. FBI leaders ignored intelligence that discredited the Russia collusion claim. Under Comey, the FBI dismissed evidence the Clinton campaign created the hoax, but used the dossier to secure illegal FISA warrants on Carter Page. Treason. Okay, let's go back. Post 2632 said, is it normal that once C. Ray was confirmed, he started visiting FBI field offices, all 56? Quoted Twitter post next. Keep going. Why would the FBI director take time to visit all 56 FBI field offices around the entire United States? Completed this week, logical thinking. Here's the link to the above post. Odd, don't you think? What was he doing? Gathering documents? Let's keep going. FBI. This week, FBI Director Ray completed his visit to all 56 FBI field offices, beginning at FBI Knoxville in 9/2017 and ending yesterday at FBI Tampa. Director Ray has the honour of seeing the great work the men and women of the FBI are doing every day throughout the country and the world. Okay, this one, Ray's a sleeper, future marker, the swamp runs deep, V2, change we can believe in, sorry. Christopher Ray, obviously. Okay. Biden to keep Ray on as FBI director. Hang on, how far is this going? How many pictures are in here?
Thousands of documents in these bags.
Hang on a sec, hang on. Post 4595, they quote itself here telling us that Ray's a sleeper. Define sleeper, double agent? Now let's get into the whole disinformation is necessary that everyone loves to throw around. I've got receipts though. Ray's a sleeper, future marker, there you go. Swamp runs deep. Post 4605, they post a picture of C. Ray. Notice the timestamp, 22:55:35. Okay, got it, let's keep going. Post 4606, timestamp 22:57:31, almost 2 minutes later. They post another picture of Ray crossed out, throwing Anons into a tizzy. Do we really trust Ray? Logical thinking dictates that if we as Anons don't know, neither do they. Let's keep going. And my friends, that post right there, let Biden do this right here. Our sleeper was injected. Logical thinking now, friends. If Chris Ray was not on our side, well, let's keep going, shall we? If Ray was deep state, would he have retained the documents that would implicate everyone and bring down the deep state? Watch the video below, listen for the word skiff. Okay, keep going. I'm going to have to mute myself so we can hear this.
Thousands of documents in these bags, supposedly burned bags at the FBI in the secret room.
Well, I want everything to be shown, you know, as long as it's fair and reasonable. I think it will be shown and it should be shown. And I think he feels that way, and I think Pam feels that way. But it's got to be, you know, it's got to be stuff that really doesn't hurt people unfairly, because you have so many people involved. And if they can do that in a fair way, I think it's great.
A new controversy is unfolding at the FBI, where a secret room filled with sensitive documents has just come to light. According to a report by Fox News Digital, FBI Director Kash Patel discovered a hidden facility known as a SCIF inside Bureau headquarters. As per the report, inside the room were burned bags containing thousands of classified documents, some tied to the Trump-Russia probe origins. Notably, the burn bag system is typically used to destroy high-level classified material once it's no longer needed or authorized for retention. Among the files is a classified annex to former special counsel John Durham's final report, which probed the FBI's 2016 Trump-Russia investigation. This annex reportedly holds foreign intelligence that anticipated the FBI's moves with what's being called alarming specificity. These revelations are reigniting debate over whether the FBI helped fuel the Trump-Russia narrative ahead of the 2016 election. Soon after assuming leadership at the FBI, Patel discovered the unknown sensitive compartmented information facility and initiated a review of its contents. Patel, in a Joe Rogan podcast, said that the room was hidden under former Director James Comey and full of untouched digital material. The annex is now being reviewed for declassification, overseen by several key intelligence officials and agencies. Those leading the process include CIA Director John Ratcliffe, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and Attorney General Pam Bondi. Once cleared, the documents will go to Senator Chuck Grassley, who has signaled plans to make the annex publicly available. President Trump, when questioned about the burn bags, appeared unaware of the discovery.
Burn burn bags of Russiagate materials, and we'd love to get your thoughts on that.
You said what?
Burn bags of Russiagate materials.
I don't know
FBI
that.
supposedly found.
I don't know that. I don't know what you mean by that statement. Say it.
Bags full of Russiagate
A
documents.
burn bag. I thought you said appointed them in a burn bag. Go ahead.
No, so he
You got to speak up.
thousands of documents in these bags, supposedly burn bags at the FBI in the secret room.
Well, I want everything to be shown, you know, as long as it's fair and reasonable. I think it will be shown and it should be shown. And I think he feels that way, and I think Pam feels that way. But it's got to be, you know, it's got to be stuff that really doesn't hurt people unfairly, because you have so many people involved. And if they can do that in a fair way, I think it's great. I think it's really great. The whole thing is a scam. It's a scam set up by the Democrats, and they love talking about it. But I would like to see people exposed that might be bad, and we'll see how that all works out. But it's getting to be very old news. You know, if they had anything, they would have done it the week before the election, because they were losing by a lot. If they had anything, they would have done it. They control the file. The Democrats controlled it. Comey and all this, you know, sleazebags, every one of them that you read about all the time. And I guess they've got some problems now having to do with yet a different scandal, very big one. But they control that file. So I would think that if they would have had something in the file, they would have released it about a week before the election, maybe 2 weeks, right, Brian?
There you go. Okay, remember SCIF, Sensitive Compartmentalised Information Facility? The post 2555, look, all the players from the sequence of events from the storm. They had a long meeting in a SCIF. Are you seeing it yet? Burn bags? No one knew about this room that the documents were held in. The director of the FBI knew. Ray knew. It was his building for almost 8 years. Anons, if you're not seeing it yet, Ray kept the burn bags for FBI Director Kash Patel to find out. To be released at the moment they were needed. Keep going. Will another attempt to delay be made? Delay equals, delay, D's control the House. JC and LL. Loretta Lynch, JC, James Comey. Moves and counter moves. See something, say something. Whitaker, Horowitz, Huber and Ray, long meetings held within a SCIF, usually indicates something highly important was discussed or planned. Folks, that SCIF burn room has protocols to enter. The other post, 2844, logs are kept. We knew exactly who was entering that SCIF and what evidence was going on there. It was watched like a hawk by C. Ray. Was Hussein attempting to access the SCIF? Keep going. What is the purpose to enter a SCIF? What security level must exist in order to gain entry? Can non-security level persons be invited to participate? Do logs exist for each designated meeting? Do logs record time, in time, out, who, in, who, out? Ability to enter a range without paper trail? RT January 29, 2018, IDEN, not for Anons, IDEN January 29th, 2018, and run back 1-2, not for Anons. SCIF logs can be very revealing. Hussein's USSS codename, Renegade. Define Renegade. Noun. A person who deserts and betrays an organisation, country or set of principles. Synonyms. Traitor, defector, deserter, turncoat and betrayer. Post 4601, sunlight kills. Version 2, Trump administration. Version 2, the Twitter link in the next section. Sunlight kills. V2. This post by Technofog lays out that Ray appointed someone special to handle the Pfizer abuses. If Ray was bad, why didn't he simply have the evidence destroyed? Logical thinking, keep going. Q sent me V2. Okay. Now let's revisit post 4595. There's that V2 again. A change we can believe in. BHO tagline. Barack Hussein Obama. Ray saved all the docs for Trump administration. V2 to find. How do we know? Let's keep going. Ray's asleep, a future marker. The swamp runs deep. V2, change we can believe in. Why would someone that has things to hide or is a bad actor simply just step away and let a new temp come in to hold the fort down until Cash got confirmed? Optics, friends. He steps down the day Trump takes office. Odd timing, don't you think? Or is it? Keep going. FBI Director Wray says he intends to resign before Trump takes office in January. So now you say Wray's being referred for criminal prosecution? He has to be bad. Let's think and look below the surface. When you are criminally referred, will you then be deposed? What happens then? Evidence introduced? Will our double agent Wray spill the beans on the whole thing now? How do you introduce evidence legally? How do you introduce truth to those that are still asleep, Dems? Use their own FBI director for against them? That's how? Keep going. President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, agreed that an illegal coup was attempted against him. Stop and understand the gravity of acknowledgement. Do you believe nothing will happen? Do you believe no one will be prosecuted? POTUS making statements for no reason? How do you introduce the truth to those still asleep? D-class coming? The message must be direct. Bypass the non-reporting of the truth, facts, by fake spin the narrative news. Now post 3701, sleepers everywhere. Wray wasn't lying, he was telling the truth here. Doctored documents, and it wasn't time to release it all yet. Keep going. Swamp runs deep, sleepers everywhere. Think coats, wheels in motion. Rewind. On January 29, 2018, FBI Director Robert Wray was issued a statement rebutting the Nunes memo on Pfizer abuses and warning Trump not to declassify or release it, citing grave concerns with inaccuracies and omissions in the memo. Now we know Wray too was lying. You must think logically about all this and use common sense. Wray was the caretaker during the Biden admin of all the evidence. He had to play the part, he had to do bad things for the greater good as FBI director during the Biden admin. He couldn't blow his cover, those burn bags were everything. It was the key to the whole operation. It's the evidence that ties everyone together. Okay, everyone. OPSEC had to be maintained, he couldn't get replaced by Biden. And that, my friends, is disinformation is necessary. Post 2937, are you seeing it yet? Has this got any music? Why have there been no arrests? Why have specific dates been mentioned and you see no action? Define game theory. Why must disinformation be provided? Define open source. Define public purview. Do we let our enemies walk through the front door? Define plausible deniability. Why was it important to first clean house within the FBI and DOJ? Public info. Why was it important to first clean house within other ABC agencies? Non-public info. What are the duties of the FBI? What are the duties of the DOJ? When does military intel have jurisdiction? What vested power does POTUS have, RE military intel, versus ABC agencies, RE's matters of national security, homeland? Think umbrella surveillance. What agency does the FBI report to? What is the role of the AG? Does the AG oversee the firing of FBI and DOJ, senior, mid, lower staff? How many FBI and DOJ were fired or forced? Does Russia recusal block AG from this responsibility? What time period did this occur? Who appointed and tasked Huber? Who appointed and tasked the OIG? Who was AG? Zero leaks. None. Transfer from AG1 to AG2. Why might that be important? How do you avoid politically motivated attack? Obstruction, attempt to obstruct Mueller. Optics are important. When are optics not important? Think Whitaker. Define stage set. Who recently walked on stage to take command? What stage experience did this person have? Think Bill Clinton impeachment. Has the stage been cleaned and cleared for the next performance? If the stage is clean, can the performance begin? How might transparency D-class fit into the dialogue? Define thesis statement. What benefits does this provide bar? This is not simply another 4-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control of our government. POTUS, logical thinking. Are we going to do another one? Yep, looks like it. No, that's it. Okay. Time to play the game. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And if you enjoyed it, you can follow the Justice Cometh on X. There you go. That was a bit of a thread there. Interesting. Hey, Lady Stardust and Timmy. How you going? Rob Smith said, and that's a wrap, folks. The Sydney march supporting terror has ended, because we had a march here supporting Hamas, apparently, over the weekend, as you knew from the Libertarian who joined in. It was a complete failure. In total, 8,230 people attended. They left the bridge cold, wet and miserable. Time to reopen the bridge and let struggling businesses resume trading. The bridge should never have been closed. We should not pander to these radicals. And Rob Smith also said, I have eyes on the ground in Sydney. A mate is positioned on the 24th floor overlooking the Harbour Bridge. He's conducting a head count of the pro-terror supporters. Thus far, nobody's turned up, but those who do, he'll be counting them. The media is known for inflating numbers. I'll bring you the real numbers, and he just did. The media said there were hundreds of thousands of people there. In total, 8,230 approximate people. Okay. Pastor Bob Joyce said, yep, it's a wrap. Game over. Has this got music behind it? Oh, dear, hang on. Okay, do you think it's over? Do you think we didn't know? Didn't plan? Didn't prepare? My stomach isn't. We did. Hold the line. Nothing can stop what's coming. What's the E? It's going to be biblical. Oh, okay. Donald Trump Jr. said game over. I think it's game over for them, not us. Just hang in there. Because one thing brings everything down, including the censorship that's going on. Kai Trump said game over for the deep state. How many people do you need to say it? Okay, Desiree was responding to Gunther Eagleman, who said what? Kash Patel's over the target. He's now saying he'll release the documents that he already did. Desiree said this could blow the lid off the entire media industrial complex. If Kash drops the files straight from FBI headquarters, it's game over for every outlet that pushed the Russia hoax. This could take down the media for good. Okay, just hang in there. And here in Australia, the stupidity of Australia. Oh, my God. No, it's the politicians, okay? I'm pretty sure most people aren't that stupid. Australians aren't anyway, just the people that voted for Labor. But anyway, in Victoria, okay, you know how they've banned machetes? Check this out. It's a machete, amnesty, safety, disposal bin with 24-hour surveillance. Oh, my God. I'm sure machete gangs will be lining up to safely dispose of their machetes into the safe disposal bin, fitted with 24-hour security surveillance. Victoria Labor. Clowns. Okay, and this costs like $13 million or some ridiculous amount for not many bins, apparently. Libs of TikTok said following a new law banning machetes, Victoria, Australia is rolling out machete disposal bins where people safely and securely dispose of these weapons. Idiots.
From the 1st of September, when the ban on machetes takes place, we are rolling out through Victoria Police at 24/7 police stations the safe disposal bins. These will be at locations right across the state. They'll be locations where people can come and lawfully dispose of any machete that they may already have at one of these bins safely and securely. And we've done this because we want to get these knives off the streets, because these knives destroy lives. From the 1st of September, when the ban on machetes takes place.
The woman is a moron, or whoever's advising her is a moron. Okay. This is how much it costs. $13 million in taxpayer money for amnesty bins. It's about $230,000 each for one of those bins. Do you think they cost $230,000? Something fishy's going on. Chris Mate said Victoria's in debt to the tune of $160 billion, yet the state government can afford to shell out $13 million in taxpayer money for machete amnesty bins, which won't do a damn thing to stop knife crime. On the plus side, you can now work from home twice a week. Moronic. So it's gonna buy 40 heavy-duty safe safety disposal bins at police stations, right? With 24-hour surveillance. As if they're going to do it. Oh, my God. So that works out to be about $230,000 for each bin, approximately. It's not exact, okay? Yeah, retards down under said Australia, Victoria are rolling out machete amnesty disposable bins before machetes become illegal. I can't stop laughing. This is ridiculous. Oh, my God. I need a new category for something this retarded. Oh, who's advising these people? I've got tears rolling out of my eyes. Sorry, guys. Okay, now let's get into some serious stuff here. Okay. Eric Schmidt said DNI Gabbard has released new declassified documents revealing that in its final days, the Obama administration plotted to hamper the incoming Trump administration with phony Russian collusion narrative. Here are 3 verifiable takeaways from the new documents. Hopefully this one's not too long. The Steele dossier played a role in the January 2017 intelligence community assessment of Russian interference in the 2016 election. Multiple senior CIA officers argued against its inclusion because it failed to meet basic tradecraft standards. When confronted with these flaws, CIA Director John Brennan responded, yes, but doesn't it ring true? And ordered its inclusion in the ICA anyway. Even worse, CIA Director Brennan lied about his reliance on the dossier repeatedly. Here he is in 2018 telling Meet the Press that it did not play any role whatsoever in the intelligence community assessment. Yeah, sure. Do you believe him? No, not as far as I could throw him, and I couldn't even pick him up. He repeated the same line to Congress in 2023 and then testified that he had no involvement in analysing the dossier. Okay. There was never solid evidence for the ICA's assertion that Putin developed a clear preference for Trump. In fact, he had a preference for Clinton because he had more over her. The claim relied on dubious evidence that CIA analysts read several different ways. Again, Brennan overruled the career analysts and forced its inclusion in the ICA. We don't know what was meant by that, and 5 people read it 5 ways. President Obama was much more involved in this sordid affair than previously known. In the summer 2016, Obama was briefed by Brennan on the Clinton campaign's plan to tarnish Trump by hyping up Russian interference fears. After Trump's historic 2016 victory, President Obama directed the IC to prepare a new report on Russian interference, while the IC previously concluded that Putin sought to sow chaos. The new ICA would conclude that Putin intervened to help Trump win. This conclusion would then be leaked to the press by the Obama administration on December the 9th, 2016. Remember Pelosi and the wrap-up smear? Do you remember that? You leak it to the press, okay? Or, you go through the FBI, fiddle with some things, then you leak it to the press, right? Or opposite way round. So what did we learn? There was never any real evidence that Putin sought to aid the Trump campaign. Despite that fact, DCIA Brennan, at Obama's direction, forced this conclusion into the ICA and set the stage for multi-year-long collusion hoax. DOJ should absolutely look into this to determine if any laws were broken. Without a doubt, this is one of the biggest political scandals in our nation's history. Our duly elected president was sabotaged by his predecessor for political gain. It has taken far too long to get the truth. I'm grateful to DNI Tulsi Gabbard for finally bringing much needed transparency and sunlight to this shameful episode. Okay. Pam Geller said Muslim guard at a US embassy in Norway charged with spying for Iran. Who hired him? It's one thing to hire a guard named Muhammad when the embassy's in Baghdad or Cairo, but in Norway? Huh. Interesting, isn't it? And this one, Huckleberry. Oh, Oak Tree Primary School said 5LG loved their visit to Cheadle Masjid today. They strengthened their learning about the 5 pillars of Islam and learnt what it was like inside a mosque. The children had a fantastic experience thanks so much to the mosque and the volunteers. Oh, way to brainwash the kids. Oh, they've been ratioed. Look at the comment number compared to the likes. Anyway, Huckleberry said, why are you dressing little girls in modesty clothes that symbolise their responsibility for man rapes them? Do you know, like Pakistani Muslim men have been doing on an industrial scale? Are you teaching that Muhammad was a child rapist and slave owner and bandit and mass murderer? Well, he actually, didn't he marry, what was her name, Aisha, at 6 years old, and then, consummated the marriage at 9, when she was 9 years old. Lovely. Andy No said, here's the video of the July 2024 attack at Manchester Airport, where police responding to an assault call were then violently beaten by 2 Muslim brothers. Mohammed Amaz was convicted this week of violently assaulting the 2 female officers. Leftists and Liberals in the UK condemned the police universally. Muslim activist lady Shaista Gahir, who is now part of a group that will define Islamophobia for the British government, took the side of the brothers at the time. She said the incident has remnants of the George Floyd murder, oh God, and is a stark reminder that minority communities are likely to face police brutality. Really? Because they were the ones that assaulted the police. Look, they were assaulting a guy first. This is when they were arrested, obviously. He's kicking them and punching them and decking them. And hello, I think the police are allowed to, use a little bit of force if needed because what they're doing. Back to Sydney. Lisa said this is the beginning of the March for Hamas today on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. They are literally waving the Hamas flag. Rather than arresting them, we're handing over our city and our police force to thousands of people who openly support terrorists. Look, even the people of Gaza don't want Hamas leading them. So who are the absolute dim-witted morons who are marching for Hamas, actually? Samuel Barry said 10 years ago, remember the Lint Cafe siege in Sydney? 10 years ago, terrorists forced Australian hostages to hold up flags in the Lint Cafe siege. Today, those same flags were flown across our national symbol, Sydney Harbour Bridge. For shame, Australia. For shame. Shame, shame, shame. Every one of these people should be kicked out of the country, even people who are born here. Oh, hey, Galdili, George, good to see you guys. Anyone else who's joined that I've missed? Daniel said Australian man on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, how it started, right? Paul Hogan. Remember Crocodile Dundee? Yeah, he worked on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, right? Yeah, the actor, right? How it's going? Oh, holy shit. Yeah, it is, George. Islam is the devil's religion. Insane people, man. And you've got, Max Egan, who used to be a truth teller, or we used to think he was anyway. He supports Palestine. Got to watch who you follow these days. Oz Integrity said in March footage sent from today's Palestine protest march at Sydney Harbour Bridge, 2nd of August 2025. Remember this when we're fighting censorship and surveillance laws come December 2025. We better be given equal access to shut down Australia's largest city for a local cause, considering this is like thousands of miles away, not our business. You lunatics. Find every one of them. Deport every one of them. And our governments support this. Jedi Law Australia said as you march across the Sydney Harbour Bridge screaming free, free Palestine, your brothers in arms, Hamas, are also busy freeing Palestine. This is who you support, you terror-loving scumbags. All you are doing is encouraging Hamas to dig in its heels against the demands of even the Palestinian Authority and much of the Arab world. You are extending suffering of the people of Gaza, you absolute fools. You morons. Historic and unprecedented. Arab countries call for Hamas to disarm and give up Gaza rule. Okay? I don't even know what that is. I don't think it can be shown on here anyway. Yeah, lovely people. Okay. Rob Smith said, and just like clockwork, Almighty God has spoken. 1 p.m. in Sydney and it's raining that heavy, the harbour bridge is invisible. I love you, Almighty God. Thank you for your support. Oh, my goodness. Go, our Father in heaven. Oh, well done, mate. Stephen says, this is a Taliban flag in today's Sydney Harbour Bridge Palestine March. Great. Gaza's strength is in Islam. Oh, yeah, okay. All these people should be deported. I'm going to keep saying it. On here we go. Francie Nancy said more details coming out about the latest alleged childcare sex abuse perpetrator, David James, here in Australia. His name was finally released this week after first being in custody since October 2024. He allegedly produced child abuse material of 10 children in his care across 6 different Sydney after-school centres. David James, eh? Did he change his name? Hang on a sec. Where are the graduation pictures of him in a police uniform? Because apparently this piece of shit was employed by New South Wales Police. On Thursday, New South Wales Police confirmed Mr. James was a former employee of the New South Wales Police Force. He was employed as a probationary constable from December 2021 to September 2022, and after failing to complete his probation, continued in a civilian capacity until his resignation in May 2023, New South Wales Police said in a statement. And still retaining his working with children check. Insane. What the f is wrong with people? Yep, there you go. He was employed by the police. Okay, let's go to Lucy Letby. There's more calls for a new trial. Mr. Graham, Lucy Letby. In startling contrast to the jury's findings, the panel concluded that all the deaths were natural and no crime was committed. Baby 1, thrombosis. Outcome death. Mother had antiphospholipid syndrome. Timmy is probably laughing his head off at me trying to pronounce this. 4, systemic sepsis, pneumonia. Sorry, I'm not laughing at the child, okay? I'm laughing at my stupid pronunciation. Systemic sepsis, pneumonia, disseminated intravascular coagulation, delay in recognising respiratory distress, starting antibiotics and poor treatment. The outcome was death. Mother should have received intrapartum antibiotics. Baby number 6, prolonged hypoglycemia due to sepsis, prematurity, borderline intrauterine growth restriction, lack of intravenous glucose, poor medical management of hypoglycemia. Outcome, they survived. Emergency caesarean section at 29 weeks. The neonatal insulin level was within the norm for preterm infants. Baby number 7, vomiting and clinical deterioration due to infection, possibly enterovirus, discharge, preterm infant born at 23 weeks. Baby number 9, respiratory complications. What the hell? I just wanted the picture, man. No, it takes, okay. Respiratory complications caused by respiratory distress syndrome and chronic lung disease, complicated by S. multifilia, colonisation from known sewage contamination of the hospital. Doctors failed to respond to warnings about S. multifilia and did not recognise the diagnosis, did not treat with the appropriate antibiotics. The outcome was death. The baby was born at 27 weeks. The apnea alarm being turned off was given as a reason for delay in intervention, but the panel found no evidence of that. I'm going to have to click on it. Baby number 11, inadequate intubation, ET tube too small and artificial respiration. Into hospital transfer, born at 25 weeks. Baby number 15, pre-existing subcapsular liver hematoma caused by a traumatic delivery resulting in hemorrhage into the peritoneal cavity and profound shock. The outcome was death. Triplet birth at 33 weeks, pre-existing pathology existed but not recognised. Holy guacamole. In addition to concerns voiced by staff, the sources of these factors below were not stated. Medical histories were incomplete, failure to consider the obstetric history, disregard for surveillance warnings about infectious bacterial colonisation, misdiagnosis of diseases, caring for patients that were beyond their designated level of care, unsafe delays in diagnosing and treatment of acutely ill patients, sounds more like a doctor problem, poor skills at resuscitation and intubation, poor supervision of junior doctors in procedures like intubation. Sorry, I had to have a drink of water. Poor skills in basic medical procedures like insertion of chest tubes. Lack of understanding about respiratory physiology and basics of mechanical ventilation. Poor management of common neonatal conditions like hypoglycemia. Lack of knowledge about commonly used equipment in the NICU. Example, neopuff, capnograph. Failure to protect at-risk patients. Example, haemophilia from trauma during intubation. Lack of teamwork and trust between the health professions. And there's a whole... Wow. I'll just go over the quick ones because I've been going for a while already. Martin McAvoy said, "It's in your writing, Mr. Hitchens, that convinced me of Lucy Letby's conviction is a terrible miscarriage of justice at the very least. There's a reasonable doubt she harmed anyone, and that is grounds for the Criminal Cases Review Commission to refer her back to the Court of Appeal." Lucy Letby, victim of a giant cover-up, says Agenda LMK. David Vance said it's clear that Lucy Letby was stitched up and is innocent, but how many other nurses have also been betrayed by the management system in the NHS that protects doctors above all else? Wow. Old Newspaper 125 said the jury heard from a doctor that Lucy Letby did nothing to help a desaturating baby. Imagine hearing that as a juror. What they didn't hear is the same doctor had sent an email that says she actually called for help. Grounds for retrial alone? There's so much wrong that it's hard to keep track, but evidence like Dr. J claiming he found her doing nothing to help a desaturating baby would have been very damaging in court. Shame they never saw his email that said Lucy Letby had actually called for help. This alone should be grounds for a retrial, never mind that he didn't report his concerns for over a year, and his testimony that he was absolutely certain in court that an alarm was not sounding, when in a police interview years earlier, 2018, he wasn't sure if it was sounding. Incredible. Yeah, I remember at the time saying, I don't know about this. Will I be found to be right or wrong? Either way, I want to know. The trials of Lucy Letby said one of Lucy Letby's former managers, Karen Rees, speaks here for the first time on camera since the trial and maintains her support for Letby. Lucy Letby, beyond a reasonable doubt? Yeah, what happened to that? Beyond reasonable doubt. I mean, in the court of public opinion, they have everyone guilty. Look, just look at Epstein and Trump. You just have to mention it. Oh, Trump's on the list. That's it. While a new appeal is considered, this film sets out the expert testimony that draws into question Letby's conviction. Also, one of her former managers, Karen Rees, speaks here for the first time on camera since the trial and maintains her support for Letby. Peter Hitchens said this was the hospital where Lucy Letby worked, bacterial filters on the taps, waste seeping through the ceiling, absorbent nappy pads in that ceiling to stop the waste from dripping down. Okay, now let's go back to, I've got heaps to go, man. Oh. The Punisher says, why does Trump call it fake news? In 1946, Operation Mockingbird unofficially began with Operation Paperclip. It recruited German behavioural scientists to develop mass psychosis weapon for the US. Later, the CIA took over MSM in 1951. Alan W. Dulles persuaded Cord Mayer to join the CIA following the direction of CIA Director George H.W. Bush in the 70s. It was a government operation to indoctrinate the public to what you now know as the MSM. Let's have a listen. I've got to mute my mic.
I thought that it was a matter of real concern that planted stories intended to serve a national purpose abroad came home and were circulated here and believed here, because this would mean that the CIA could manipulate the news in the United States by channeling it through some foreign country. Now, we're looking at that very carefully.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks?
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
At CBS, we had been contacted by the CIA. As a matter of fact, by the time I became the head of the whole news and public affairs operation in 1954, ships had been established, and I was told about them and asked if I'd carry on with them.
We have quite a lot of detailed information, and we will evaluate it, and we will include any evidence of wrongdoing or any evidence of impropriety in our final report and make recommendations.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to the national news services, AP and UPI?
Well, again, I think we're getting into the kind of detail, Mr. Chairman, that I'd prefer to handle in executive session.
Senator, do you think that you named the news organizations in your final report?
That remains to be decided.
I think it was entirely in order for our correspondents at that time to make use of CIA agent chiefs of station and other members of the executive staff of CIA as sources of information which were useful in their assessments of world conditions.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
Wow. Very interesting. Wide Awake Media said, yes, Tulsi Gabbard must release everything on Operation Mockingbird. The media isn't broken, it's weaponised. For decades, they've manipulated minds, pushed psyops and silenced truth. Expose it all, burn it down, let the people see who owns the narrative. And that's why I don't believe a lot of true crime, because they do that to make people scared of each other. And the ones that are like serial killers and that, I believe some people are used as patsies. Because I believe a lot of the people at the top are doing a lot of the serial stuff. WSQ said Operation Mockingbird. We will know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. William Casey, CIA director from first staff meeting in 1981. Harry the Soul Coach said, and just like that, they're now talking about Operation Mockingbird. All the dots are connecting. Mockingbird. Let's have a listen now to this one.
Media being used as a propaganda mechanism. We saw it flatly. I mean, I think it's the smoking gun, quite frankly, of the Obamagate narrative and the Russiagate narrative, that it was so baked in that the New York Times and Washington Post went and ran with it. Some would say that that's part of Operation Mockingbird. Some would say that that's part of what we learned in the Church Committee, that the intel agencies were using media outlets as their mouthpieces, and that those mouthpieces would parrot the official narrative. And I wanted to ask you, is this operation still going on? Are you aware of the intel agencies working directly with media outlets in order to push prescribed narratives that may or may not be true?
It's something that we've already had to deal with, Benny, within this administration, where there are people within the intelligence community who believe that their will is more important than the will of the American people, and will weaponize intelligence by leaking it to their friends within the mainstream media with the intent of undermining President Trump's agenda. It is not one that he hasn't already talked about in every rally and town hall that he did throughout the campaign. I don't even know how many there were, but President Trump is enacting the very thing he promised the American people he would do in this election. So people in the intelligence community, they may agree, they may disagree. That's not the point here. As intelligence professionals, as people who work in the national security space, in the intelligence community, they are required to fulfill their mandate to their oath to the Constitution of the United States and to the President of the United States, who was duly elected by the American people. Those who leak intelligence to their friends in the mainstream media with the intent of undermining the president who was elected by the American people, none of these intelligence professionals were. They are subverting the will of the people and therefore undermining the Constitution.
It's wild that you're still having to deal with that. Call it what you will, but Operation Mockingbird, just incredible that they were just out with it, that they were using the media as government organs to push propaganda, and it's still happening today.
This is why what we're doing is so important, Benny,
Yes.
and this is why President Trump's mandate in this is really critical, is by exposing the truth, by exposing the bad actors within the intelligence community and in the political space who are weaponizing intelligence to advance their own political interests, is so important to be able to turn the light on in places that have been dark for far too long, expose the truth, and drive accountability. That's the only way that we can actually shift this and begin the work to try to restore trust in the intelligence community.
There you go. Here it all comes. That's why game over. And yeah, I've already done that. Well, like that, because Benny Johnson did do it. Gunther Egerman said, breaking, former CIA Director John Brennan confirmed DNI Gabbard's claim that Operation Mockingbird remains active. He started after realising what he'd just said. Intelligence really undergirds a lot of the political efforts underway. Let's have a listen.
Not in the truthful way in which it was given?
I think they see that there is politicization at the top of the intelligence and law enforcement agencies, undermining the credibility of the individuals who lead these organizations. And if it undermines the credibility of those individuals, it undermines the credibility of the institutions themselves. So the U.S. intelligence is the most powerful entity on the globe. So many other countries rely on U.S. intelligence that we feed them this information. But if they suspect that anything is being done for political purposes, they're no longer going to look at this information as objective, as apolitical, as accurate information, which really is a shame, because sometimes we need to have a coalition of the willing, coalition of all our partners and allies. And that intelligence really undergirds a lot of the political efforts underway.
And not in the truth.
There you go. Apparently Operation Mockingbird never ended. It's okay. Beware your ears, okay? They're going to be assaulted. Are you ready for this? Okay, let's have a listen. Listen to them all say exactly the same thing.
Sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media. More alarmingly, some media outlets publish things aren't true without checking facts.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Sharing of biased and false.
Do you get it? That's exactly what they do. It's like with the pushing the envelope one. At one point, they were all pushing the envelope, saying push the envelope. These are morons, man. I mean, I do a better job than they do. I think, anyway. Yep, Liz Churchill said Operation Mockingbird never ended. The CIA controls the MSM. The conspiracy theorists were right again. What's this one? Oh, yeah. Where's E-Safety, Karen, when she's calling for this lunatic here that I was talking about the other day? I had this on video the other day. The lunatic, right? Weird, no mention of Plant Inman Grant denouncing Albo's paid influencer. How could that be, Julie? Julie Inman Grant, what are you doing? Are you not taking this woman out? Deleting her? No, she's one of your mates. Of course not. Okay, and it's interesting that E-Safety Office will put out press releases, though deliberately inaccurate, when Julian Mann Grant feels like she has a win. Yet they say nothing when she loses and wastes taxpayer dollars. Where's her statement on refusing to give evidence of her research into the harms of YouTube? She doesn't have any. It's so flimsy she can't even show it. Matthew Camanzuli said Julian Mann Grant is an appalling example of the public service in Australia. She's also a CIA plant, isn't she? Operation Mockingbird, anyone? Unelected, unaccountable, very powerful. I do not support her or anything she does. I think her department should be closed down. Me too. The public can see through the BS now. The West is coming back. Let me just have a quick cough. Australia's E-Safety Commissioner Julian Mann Grant gave a speech in July where she said Donald Trump during his presidency savage abused foes online with impunity, appearing to claim Trump should have been deplatformed sooner. Grant also highlighted RFK Jr. as one of the people responsible for the vast majority of anti-vax COVID misinformation circulating on the global internet during the lockdown. No doubt she's appalled to see Trump re-elected and nominate RFK Jr. as health secretary. She's a frickin' moron. Another moron. They're all morons. Prove me wrong. Julian Mann Grant said it was never her intention to become Australia's E-Safety Commissioner, but luckily her hometown congressman stuck his head underneath her work cubicle and offered her a job that would ultimately lead to this day. Who's that congressman? Need to find them and smack them in the head. Sorry, no, just joking. It's a figurative, I'm not being like telling anyone to go commit violence. Okay, Billboard Chris said this is quite incredible. Australia's E-Safety Officer is receiving multiple reports per day about every time Julian Mann Grant is mentioned online. Her name's Tweet and Jules, by the way. These include posts with only 2 views. These reports contain anywhere from 71 to 7,881 mentions, are compiled by an American firm called Meltwater and are reviewed daily by E-Safety's General Manager, Toby Allen Dagg. Most of the posts featured in the Meltwater reports relate to the E-Safety Commissioner's censorship of my post criticising Teddy Cook, an Australian woman who's been appointed to a UN panel tasked with drafting healthcare policies for trans-identified people. Teddy is a woman who now says she's a man and she's fond of posting porn, bestiality and bondage, in addition to advising that trans-identified people have better sex when they're high on illicit drugs. In other words, she's the last person on earth who should have anything to do with drafting healthcare policy. The insane are running the asylum. How do you feel, Australians, knowing that your every post about the very sensitive American authoritarian Julian Mann Grant is being watched, collected and reported back to her? If only she could see my middle finger. That's what I think of it. Big Mother is listening. Australia's E-Safety monitors what you say about Julian Mann Grant online. Well, come and fucking arrest me, you fucking moron. Sorry. I don't like swearing, but I will when it comes to this idiot. And the idiot's in charge, apparently. Oh, this is News Anthony Albanese commentary account. E-Safety Commissioner Julian Mann Grant. People tell me that I'm part of the censorship industrial complex because I go to the WEF and I'm a WEF trader, apparently. You are, love. You are. And Francie Nancy. Julian Mann Grant is misleading Australians by saying research backs up her censorship push. This sounds like corruption at the highest level. Is it time to report her to the National Anti-Corruption Commission? Anyone can do it, I think. She's a US citizen who appears to be colluding with foreign entities and making false claims in an attempt to mislead and censor Australians. The research has been FOI'd and it appears she is not being truthful at all. Time to take a stand. There is no basis for her doing this to YouTube. Okay? Oh, and this one. Oh, just have to, just have to show you this. Z Media officials said, breaking, the woman who tweeted this following yet another assassination attempt on Trump is followed by none other than Australia's Z Safety Commissioner, Julian Mann-Grant, who wants to control information on the entire internet, issued hundreds of thousands of dollars in fine to Elon Musk and X, and has recently partnered up with disgraced former Biden Ministry of Truth appointee, Nina Yankovitz, to tackle misinformation online. Is Jules an admirer of this person, or is she following her to keep an eye on her? Her name's Rachel Vinman. She did say no ears were harmed, carry on with your Sunday afternoon. And her posts, followed by Julian Mann-Grant. Okay, I got more on her, but I can't be bothered. She's a frickin' moron. I hope you hear this, Julie. Shouldn't even be in Australia. Go away. Okay, now let's go to the chat. We might be going to Rumble today. Hello. Hope you can join us, hopefully. We're going to talk to Dr. Timmy about this, that, and everything. Hey, going, Deb, Dealey, Sherry, Lucette. Did I miss you guys at the beginning? I feel like I did. And Shannon. Oh, my stomach's grumbling. Just don't mind my growling stomach. Shannon said, may fall asleep, just got back from night shift. Oh, God, love you, Shannon. Have a good sleep. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. Is that helping or did that wake you up? Hey, J1, how you going? And thank you very much, J1. And as I said, whoever donated on Buy Me Coffees, thank you so much, guys. Oh, Deb, you were one of them. I think Dustin was one too. God love him. I don't see him in here often, but God love him. Okay, Deb said we must need to put our name at the bottom of the message and buy the coffee. Yeah, possibly. I can only pin one of these, Deb. Hang on. That'll do. Bit late now, but anyway. Lucette says, seems like, oh yeah, I had to tell you something. Huh? Holy shit, things changed within 24 hours, okay? Some of it's good news, some of it's not so good news, okay? I will be moving back in with my parents and my daughter. Streaming may become a problem. There is no privacy anywhere. I don't have a bedroom. I'll be couch surfing or camping in the backyard in a tent. I have to sell everything I own, so I have to have like a garage sale where everything is for sale. So I have to get rid of my bed, everything, except my computer. Okay? But I don't even know if I'm going to be able to stream. Hang on a sec, guys. Sorry to cough in your ear. I have to give my chickens away. I have a friend who's going to take chickens. It is 10:23 a.m. in Australia. Yeah, that was for George. I have to get rid of my chickens. I've got a friend who's taking them. I can take the cats. And I don't know how this is going to go. But I have to downsize everything. So I have to have a massive garage sale. Okay, where everything's got to go, including all my garden tools. Everything I've bought over years and years and years, I'm going to have to sell. So, but it will save my hide because I cannot afford to stay here anymore. I can only afford to get by week to week. As soon as a bill comes in, I'm fucked. So this will make it easier for me financially, but harder to stream. So I might even just get in the car in the mornings with my phone and stream that way. It won't sound anything like it does now. I don't know how this is going to go, guys. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. Anywho, holy crap. Okay, Lucette said, seems the US is moving in the right direction on every level, but the UK is going towards dystopia very quickly. Lucette, Australia's right there alongside you, okay? We are right there alongside you. I don't think it's going to actually be successful. All this censorship, and I don't think it's going to end up successful. And I, in fact, think that we may have, like, no internet for a few, you know, maybe up to 10 days even. You know, the 10 days of darkness was still coming sometime. So, yeah, I think it's a lot of it's scare tactics. But we're finding out a lot during those scare tactics. Pat said, hi, Heaven, all my lovelies. J1 said, baked beans, keep your bed warm. How you going, J1? Sherry and Pat, how you going, guys? Deb said, saying Epstein is the plug that was released. Yes, well, look, if they can't get the people that were at the Epstein Island that way because maybe the stuff's been too played with, like the Epstein files, then they're going to get them another way. Don't you worry. They're still going to be held accountable. Don't you worry. Even the board said it. It doesn't matter. They will still be held accountable. They will get them another way. Okay? So, and Timmy, I think Timmy's going to join us. Lady Stardust said, interesting. How you going, Lady Stardust? Interesting. Kash Patel has been sent to Australia and New Zealand, 2 of 5 eyes, and Trump met the other 2. Exactly. Lady Stardust. Yeah, I reported on that the other day as well. Lady Stardust said, trust Ray. Yeah, exactly. Lucette said, they say Pastor Bob Joyce is actually Elvis Presley. I like Pastor Bob Joyce because he believes in, the board. Deb said, I'll not be putting my machete in the bin. All Asians cooking tools. George, how you going? Hi, Heaven, everyone have been listening, not talkative tonight. That's fine. Lucette said, the slit in that machete bin looks big enough for someone to put their hand in and pull a machete out, lol. That wouldn't surprise me. Deb said, calling all knives are also banned. Next it's the forks, so we'll have to only use spoons. Yeah, well, good luck to them, like, seriously, policing that. Good luck to them. Lucette says, spoons too, Deb. You can give someone a heavy bonk on the head with a spoon. Yes, you can. D. Lee said, oh, dang, I got sidetracked. Sorry, I'm late. Hello, everyone. You're never too late, D. Lee. Yep, Deb said it too. Never too late, D. Lee. Deb said, so true. Mum's big spoon is definitely banned. Yeah, what about wooden spoons? People used to get smacked with wooden spoons here in Australia when we were young. George said, Islam is the devil's religion. I do believe it is. Deb said, this is our Australian government shame. Yep. Hey, Flyby Stu, how you going? George said, Labor are traitors to the UK and Australia. Yeah, Australia are traitors to the Australian people. The government are anyway. It's insane. They're all a bunch of bloody morons. And I hope they hear this. I hope Julian Mangrant is listening and she hears that she's a moron, that Albo's a moron. The opposition aren't much better. Anyway, probably get myself in trouble. I might not need a place to stay if they lock me up. Can you come and lock me up now? And that way I can just get rid of everything and don't need a place to stay. I'm joking, by the way. Deb said, pedos are going free in South Australia. That does not surprise me. Deb said, why do our judges let pedos go free? They've probably got something held over their heads too. I'd say. Or because they are one, yep. George said because they're pedos, Deb, yep. Deb said, Australian government is paying 20 weeks pregnant women can get paid if they terminate at 20 weeks, almost $5,000. Yes, they are. Yep, I read that one on my last, I think it was the last video I did. George said human rights lawyers are scumbags. Deb said you can also terminate a full-term baby. Yes, you can. J1 said it's a butcher shop. And you know how don't ever sign up for organ donation either, you know, because do you know they need you alive when they take those organs out? Do you know that? So does anyone remember the story about the father who his son was in a coma and they were going to turn off life support, and he took a gun in and he held off all the doctors and all the people, and his son actually woke up, right? Guaranteed they were going to start digging out those organs because they can't do it when their person's dead. Their organs are dead with them. They have to do it while you're alive. So if you don't want that to happen to you, just in case you might wake up, 2 days after they've already taken your organs out, don't be an organ donor. Yep, J1, it's a butcher shop. Lucette said, being paid to have an abortion, really? That's a depopulation agenda then, yes. Deb said, I could not believe it until I read it to be true. J1 said, hospitals are the modern death day camps. Oh, it's looking like that. Deb said, I find it very disturbing considering I'm very motherly. Yes, I find it very disturbing too. Lucette said, Deb, yes, full-term abortions are now allowed in the UK as well. It's pure evil. Everyone's saying hello to each other. George said, anyone aborting a baby who's due is a demon. Yeah. Lady said, meanwhile, President Trump is offering baby bonuses that increase via crypto. Nice. Deb said, I believe children are a gift. So do I, actually. Now I've got to blow my nose. Hang on a sec, guys. Oh, I've got to mute it so I can blow my nose and you don't hear me. Okay. Lucette said, my instincts were telling me Lucy Letby was innocent from the start. Well, yes, look, I thought there's something wrong with this. And I'm thinking that of most true crime at the moment, to be honest. I think a lot of it's like, if it doesn't make sense, you either haven't got all the information or the bloody thing's made up. Seriously. Because they can't get anything right, right? And there's a lot of true crime that I watch that I go, this doesn't make freaking sense. Like, we're either not being told the whole story here or that person's innocent. That's what it seems like to me. A lot, right? And as for serial killers, I think you'll find that a lot of them are possibly people in power. But that's just me. I'm a real conspiracy theorist, so there you go. George said the UK has become so evil since Labor's been in government. Yes. Deb said yes, TV personality just regurgitate the set narrative. They want to control what to think exactly. And if you haven't, please hit the like and subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate that. That's the only way I get anywhere here. YouTube won't help me. Deb said you can tell all the people that watch the daily news and believe it all are now laughing. I find them very funny when they believe all the shit coming from mainstream news. Yes, me too. George said personality more like robots, Deb. Yeah, they are. They're talking heads, that's all they are, for someone else. Deb said, I cannot have a proper conversation with all the mainstream news believers. I can't either. I've got to talk about, like, light stuff, George said, brainwash fools, Deb. Lucette said, Deb, I find it very hard to have a conversation with my mother nowadays because she believes everything the mainstream media tells her. Yep. Deb said, rules for me and rules for thee. Yep. George said, wow, that's painful to my ears and brain. Deb said, it's all for entertainment purposes only. Deb said, is your mum highly educated, Lucette, like mine? Where are we? Let's go back. Okay, I'm not that far back. That's good. Deb said the newsreaders are just... Oh, yeah, well, I've read that one. Personality, more like robots. Yeah, I find it hard to have conversations with people who listen to mainstream news. Oh, Lucette said, Deb, not really. She's of average intelligence. Deb said, I can talk about government and religion with my mum, even though she's highly educated. J1 said FBI in Australia and New Zealand. Yes, they have been. George said the WF are evil. Yes, they are. Deb said, yes, Shannon is in ZZ land, sleeping. Deb said, yes, what happened? George asked what time it was in Australia. It's now 10:34. Deb said, oh no. Deb said 9:53 in Adelaide. George said, sleep well, Shannon. Dolores said, I just popped in and heard what you're saying, Hev. I'm praying for God's justice on this whole fed-up situation our world is in. I've been missing because I've been in hospital for 2 weeks. Oh, Dolores. Oh, God love you.
Timar28G tipped $20. This drive has never been an organ donor. In regard to true crime, cell phone triangulation was created by the FBI and they train police for 2 days and it's not as accurate as we believe. Let's just say,
just like evidence can be planted, so can location. Thank you, you legend, Timmy. Yeah, I agree. And it said not this drive, it said this doctor, because the computer, see, AI is not that smart. This doctor has never been an organ donor. And when a doctor's not an organ donor, you listen, okay? There's many nurses saying the same thing too. Doctors and nurses are all saying, do not, no. Okay? When someone tells you that, listen. And Dolores, I'm so sorry you've been in hospital. I hope you're okay. We're going to pray for you, Dolores. Oh, I feel for you. Especially being in a hospital for 2 weeks. I couldn't imagine anything worse right now. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, all you legends who donated, like including Dustin, Deb, J1, you're all legends, mate. Seriously. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Lucette said, Hev, can you make a private area with screens, etc.? Maybe you could cordon off a part of a room to use and make it into a little office area. There really is nowhere. There will be 9 people in a 3, 4, 5, 6. There will be 9 people in a 6-bedroom house, 7-bedroom maybe, 6.5 bedrooms, I want to say. But yeah, no, I'll have to sleep on the lounge, or I might even set my tent up outside. If I can get electricity running outside somehow, I might be able to stream from the tent. Oh my God, this is going to be insane. Holy cow. Dealey said, Hev, lifting you up in prayer. Yep, may God continue to bless you abundantly. Thank you, Dealey. I just need prayers, guys. Prayers that everything just works out, okay? That's all I ask. If you can just pray that everything works out the way it's supposed to. And funnily enough, I sat there 2 days ago and I was praying, saying, God, help me, please. Give me some sign, some way, some escape from this insanity that I'm living in, you know? And then that popped up and, yeah, I think God answered my prayers and said, go home. Go home. I don't know, Lucy. I'm going to try my hardest to keep streaming, okay? George said, sorry to hear that, Hev. We live in an evil world. We do. Pat said, I'm so sorry, Hev. I know how you feel. It could be any of us at any time. Yeah, exactly. I don't understand, because I rent privately. I don't get government-assisted housing, okay? I rent the way everyone else rents. And it's hard when you are on, like, a disability pension, okay? It's really bloody hard. I feel sorry for elderly people who might be living alone trying to pay rent. I couldn't even imagine, because they get less than a disabled person gets, slightly, not much, but a little bit less, right? I don't know how they're doing it. Like, I've given up smoking. Yeah, so that we'll see if that has anything to do with the headaches. Funnily enough, Tim and I were talking. But yes, we'll see, okay? Dolores said, I want to thank this chat for all the support for each other. I'm lifting you all up in prayers. You too, Dolores. We'll be praying for you too. Dealey said a wet wooden spoon was the worst. Oh, yeah. Lucette said the wooden spoon punishment is definitely an Irish practice, lol. Geoloff said with the right mindset, everything can become a weapon. Exactly. Dealey said, I remember that, Hev. Yeah, you remember when that guy, like his son was in hospital in a coma and they were going to turn off the life support. The father went in and he They said they were turning it off. He walked out the car. He got his gun. He walked back in and said everyone out of the room. And his son woke up. They would have taken his organs. He was an organ donor. They would have taken him. Deb said, yes, I believe paperclip from people from Germany continued all evil things in our hospital. Delia said abortions must really be on decline if they're willing to pay women to abort. Yeah, it's insane. George said, hi, Gio, I sleep with a hammer next to my bed, lol. Deb said, you can't even talk about the weather now. Yeah, I know. Oh, Deb sleeps with a cat. George said, Lucky sleeps with me as well, Deb. Yeah, both my cats try and sleep on my head. Doesn't work well. I can't breathe. Had last night, one on one side, one on the other, so it didn't matter which way I turned. I had a cat in my face while I was trying to sleep. Just drinking some water. Okay, Deb said, yes, I was hoping if we keep donating to at least we can have you streaming. Yeah, well, if I could stay here, you know, it would be good, but I can't. I don't think I can. It's not sustainable. Talk about sustainability. I've got a cough again. Hang on, guys. Yeah, it's just not sustainable. J1 said, sounds like a movie was made, Hev. Lady Stardust said, Heather, headaches often from neck pain. Heat pad helped me. Yes, I've got heat pads and a TENS machine as well. I've been using it. So hopefully I'm not getting as many headaches as I have been getting. Also, giving up smoking might help. Deb said, I'll be on my own at some point. It's harder on your own. It is. Oh, Deb, I'll pray for you too. Deb said, I'll be lost without our Heaven Hevites. George said, I live on my own apart from Lucky. And Deb said, yes, I've been using my wheat bag a lot. And George said, Lucky has kept me going. Okay, guys, with that, I'm going to end the stream now and we will meet you over on Rumble, hopefully. Do I have a Rumble link for you guys that I could... yes, hang on a sec. Let me just see if I can stick it in the chat for you. Copy. Paste. And we'll have Tim on over on Rumble. Gerloff said I sleep with one eye open and ear to hear and my protective spirit's set to go. Just pass me on by. That's it. Okay, guys, with that, I shall see you in about 10 minutes over on Rumble. Oh, God love ya.
Timar28G tipped $20. When my brother was in the vent, the ICU doctor remarked, at least 4 times, how healthy his organs were. I was his power of attorney and refused to do a DNR. She then went behind my back and told my nephews how.
Okay. I want to read the whole thing out. When my brother was in the vent, the ICU doctor remarked at least 4 times how healthy his organs were. Well, that's warning. Warning flags. I was his power of attorney and refused to do a DNR. Then she went behind my back and told my nephews how cruel I was for not letting him die. That is crazy, Tim, eh? Oh, my God. Imagine them doing that. That is insane. Yeah, Timmy went, wait, wait for it. I've just donated. It takes a couple of minutes to come through. God love you, Timmy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And that is insane, them doing that. Don't ever let them make you feel bad either. Don't ever let them make you feel bad. Okay, thank you, Timmy, you legend. Okay, great show. Thank you. Awesome, Timmy. Excellent. Okay, guys, I'll see you over on Rumble in about 10 minutes. Much love. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys. Whoops.